Hello and welcome to the first episode of Thinking Out Loud. I'm your host Scotty P, the Mid-Strength Magician, and in today's episode we're going to be featuring a move called the Kelly Bottom Placement. Now, this channel playlist is dedicated to me sharing my alternate handlings and uses of certain moves or sleights, so before you click away thinking I know how to do a Kelly Bottom Placement, please stick around because I'm going to show you how to use this move to not only control a card to the bottom of the deck, but control it to the top. Use this move to steal a card for a card to pocket or card to wallet routine, and even use this move to do a peek. So, without further ado, let's crack on with episode 1, the Kelly Bottom Placement. Now let me share with you my handlings on how to control the card to the top of the deck. Assuming that you've already forced or they've already freely selected the Queen of Diamonds, you can show that their card is not on top. It's Queen of Clubs, but then with a wipe of the finger you can turn it into the Queen of Diamonds. Now how that's done is, assuming they've selected the Queen of Diamonds and you've done the Kelly Bottom Placement to control it to the bottom, when you control it to the bottom, because it's off the deck when you're moving down, what you can actually do is, before it's squared in, use your pinky to grab that card and retain a break, and then through talking and patter you can actually reverse that card on the bottom. Then you can just show the bottom card, show the top card, sorry, which is the Queen of Hearts. This will be a good color change, and then change it to the Queen of Diamonds. And all I'm doing there is the Kelly Bottom Placement move. I'm pulling it off the bottom, I'm rotating the deck around as I squeeze my hands from this position to this position, point to the card, place it on top, and run your finger across. So done at speed, you can say Queen of Hearts is not your card, but with a little wipe it can turn into your card, the Queen of Diamonds. That's controlling it to the top. Now let's look at the steal, and this one is a little bit trickier, so I'm just going to move the camera down a bit for the steal move because it is a bit more complex and there's a couple more things going on. So they will select the card as normal, you'll show the card, but instead of just pulling it to the side and placing it on the bottom, what you're actually going to do is show the card, and as you're showing the card, this hand is going to push the deck, or this finger actually is going to push the deck deeper. When you pull this card across, instead of just pulling this card across, what you're going to do is go across and use a ring finger to ride it down the side of the deck a little, so it's now in-jogged. When you go and place the cards together, you can use the ring finger to then grasp that card. You can use the edge of the deck to push into the hand. As you pull away, give to the spectator to shuffle, but you've stolen the card. The peek is a bit different. Typically what I'll do with the peek is I'll use 8 cards, and they can freely choose a card, but because I controlled their card to the second position, I've actually used the Kelly Bottom move to pull this card away and peek their card, which is second from the bottom. And that's simply done through a shuffling control, which I'm not going to go into, but however you want to control their card to be second from the bottom, you do so. And then you say, because I'm a magician, maybe I shuffled it to the top and it was the Ace of Hearts, or maybe I shuffled it to the bottom and it was the, and then as I turn the cards to face me and say, and maybe your card was the 8 of Diamonds, I'm just peeking the 5 of Clubs. From there, I just put the cards back in the hand, well, after of course squaring up, I put the cards back in the hand And without saying, and see, it's the 8 of diamonds, I just casually drop the hand down and say, so maybe you'd like to shuffle the cards. I grab it by the end, flip it over, and hand it to them face down. I do that because if I just hand it to them like this, there's a chance that they could spread it across and see the 5 of clubs. So you say maybe it was the 8 of diamonds, peeking, straighten up in the hand, maybe you'd like to shuffle, grab it by the end, and then hand it to them and they can freely shuffle. So that was a few of my thoughts on the Kelly bottom placement and some alternate handlings. It was a little bit more of a tutorial flavour, although typically this won't be a tutorial playlist. This will be assuming that you've got a base knowledge of magic, and it will just be spitballing some ideas with fellow magicians. I will have a tutorial based playlist on my channel where it will go through more step-by-step instructions on how to do routines. However, they will be my routines, not marketed effects. If you want those, don't bother looking here. I will have some other playlists featured as well. A playlist dedicated to just doing routines themselves without explanation. And I want to go back to having more of a cinematic intro to the videos as well. I know that's not really good for the engagement and people tend to click off sometimes if they get bored with a cinematic intro, but I have to go back to what I enjoy putting out there, and whoever wants to see that can see that. Feel free to check out my other playlists, subscribe if you haven't, because there's a lot more content and fun coming this year. After a year off, I'm eager to get back into it, so that's it from me. I'm Scotty P, the Mid-Strength Magician, and I bloody love magic.